Boleh dengar tak?
Farid dengar
Boleh.
lah.
Very
Boleh
clear.
dengar Okay. Thank you.
Ya.
So, Mr. David, what is your project now?
The project actually mainly in my hand, we have two, because of the trade war between China and US. So Malaysia company, actually we managed to get some design project for the IC, integrated circuit. Actually that is the project that is given to us. And this IC is considered the highest value, because they want the IC design all need a brain. So currently we only have a very small pool of the graduate can do that. In Intel, normally we will go to university and we offer those first class honors to involve in this. So this is a one that very hard to get the talents. We have, but surprisingly in Malaysia, Intel itself have about 4,000 IC designer in Penang. Okay, this is one of the biggest group, and versus others company. Actually in Penang, actually there is about 4,800 IC designer in Penang. So Intel itself already take up the biggest portions. So IC also divide to few portions. So we have the logic design, memory design, we have the RF analog design, and also we have a power management design. So there is a 4 portion. But Malaysia, we are very good in only the logic design, and we have some RF design. But we are weak in the memory design, which is more likely by Micron, US, or Samsung, Hynix. They are good in the memory design. And what we are having now, just a small group. So actually, we cannot get enough engineers level in this, because we are targeting minimum for IC designer is CGPA 3.5 above, but we look for the first class around 3.7 above, that zone 5 like that. So this is the one we groom, and this one is the first degree. But about master and PhD, the number of pool even smaller. Okay, so we only have a USM, UM, and also UTM is the 3 core supplier in this industry. So we have a Malaysia company, those who are ex-Intel, ex-AMD. We have a small number of the Malaysian SME that form the company, those who are the ex-multinational. From the stage of the changes, means that we start provide labor. Intel need 10 people designer, we send labor. From that stage, as a labor provider, then go to we design small module. Then from small module, then we move to the next current state. They manage to design their own chip. So it take 3 phases for them to transform if you want to come out as an entrepreneur. So it will take easily 5 years and above lah. This industry is not easy. So I'm in part of the team that involved in that. But I'm not so good in IC design. But my strength is more to the board and system design. So after the IC, then you want to make a solution, IoT and all that. That is my portion to play around with that. Yeah. Okay, we are about the time. So pass to Engineer Farid and maybe pesanan penaja, Mr. Muzaffar.
I think Mr. Muzaffar will start first, right?
Yes. After the thing put online, everything.
We start sharp at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. But Haniza will update us when the people start to log in. I think they should able to see some of the incoming participant.
Yeah, people start to come in.
How many person registered so far?
Almost 170, I think.
170. Okay, that's a good number, right?
Usually we have to minus 10, 20%
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the pledge, attendees.
Yes. So moving forward, maybe more
We
area
still
that I need to
send
discuss.
invitations. Hopefully more will come in.
Yeah. Dr. Samsuri, moving forward, maybe need to talk to you more. What is the industry
Yeah,
need?
we are certainly, because in our department also we have a conceptual project for this 4IR. How do we embrace 4IR? We call it 4IR flagship. So we
Okay.
divide into 10 sectors. For example, like autonomous vehicles, wearables, logistic, retail, but we haven't got, ideas how to execute it, the way we got the conceptual, but how do you want to go for it? We need people like you lah to give ideas.
Integrator.
Maybe you can leverage
Maybe
the university,
how
Dr. Shamsuri.
Sure. This is not one man show. This is not only one organization. We need to pull everybody actually, isn't it, Mr. David? The
Yes.
industries, the company,
Yeah.
the universities, because in order to move into this innovation economy, we need the TVET also have to move into innovation sphere, you know. So we have one grand plan actually. We call it to create this TVET innovation ecosystem. So we need, the financiers, we need the innovators, the integrators, the industry
Yeah.
especially.
Now, actually, the industry input. I'll show you this slide. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is additional slides.
No. This one I would like to explain later. But this one, you see that the first one, key site on the 7th of May, B Brown on the date of the 2nd June, and Bosch on the 3rd June. Actually, this is what we are working behind the scene, that we ask Keysight to establish their test center. Then on the 2nd of June, B Brown also announced their regional test center. It will be set up in Malaysia. Yesterday, Bosch made announcement their testing lab for semiconductor and sensor will set up in Malaysia as well. So this is something that to trigger Dr. Samsuri. What is this industry need? The test engineer. Okay, you cannot wait for them to come and tell you, Dr. Samsuri, I need test engineer. Now, ministry have to go and talk to them. What test engineer you want to develop? Can we work? Because they will start, once they announce, they will take 18 months for them to happen. So after 12 months, basically, they look for their student to start to come in and all that. So this is the trend today. This is so why I clip this, because I'm in this semiconductor industry. I become a watchdog lah, industry watchdog. So I need to know what is happening. Then what is the changing? Then what are we going to do? The next company we are targeting is the Boston Scientific Test Center. Okay, so you see that there is some changes in terms of the industry. They already start to come from the manufacturing. Now this is a test, it's a most of the time it's a servicing. Okay, it's a servicing. So, but you need to have a very core engineering skill set embedded in order to do this, right? So we discuss this because this is a good news to Malaysia, how in a difficult time, but a lot of the announcement. And also another area, Dr. Samsuri, look at that. Watch out, Singapore. Singapore announced this week they have already achieved 4 billion USD investment. Okay, 4 billion USD in investment in Singapore, which is their whole entire year. But their Q1 they already achieved. So that means whatever Singapore, the company that invest there, I saw that their company, but they may need the human capital resource from JB, Johor, a lot. Yeah, so how we prepare ourselves ahead on this. So this is some of the upside is a good thing. Whatever happened in Malaysia or in Singapore, but it will spill over to us.
Yeah, certainly. Yes.
Yeah.
We need not to compete with Singapore, but maybe complement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are far. That's why the promotional campaign for Nusa Jaya is, to the Singaporean,
Yes.
it's just they're saying that you don't have land, we have land, so come here. Best. Right.
Okay, we are about countdown 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but I think the problem with us, the government, is the speed, the rate of change, is quite slow. In order to respond to that, for example, the test engineer. So maybe we need some sort like the bridging programs. If we would go for a normal or formal way to review the curriculum and so on and so forth, and then wait for another 3 years. The industry cannot wait for 3 years. So
Yeah.
what be the existing graduates? So what kind of modification or skill sets enhancements? That's why I would like to propose like this camp or this finishing schools program. Maybe 1 month, 2 months, whatever suit to the needs of the companies. Because the basic they already have, the fundamental.
Yeah. Yes. Agree with that.
Yeah.
So this is what I see lah. So the one Mr. Muzaffar, your GCR.
This is a pillar number 6.
Indicators, the indicators.
Yeah, that one you will describe later.
Yes. Something that we need to further improve, particularly in terms of the vocational quality of vocational training and also the skill sets of graduates. This is something that is what Dr. Shantri said, and it's what you have mentioned. We need to further focus on what is the future of work, what's the future needs of industries. So the upcoming trend of the technology, so that the challenges faced by the institutions to ensure that we meet the demand supply dynamic. This is more relevant to what we are discussing today.
Apart from technology, don't forget about the attitude. That is the first, the crux of the matter.
Agreed. That is also very important to ensure that the workforce
still long way to go.
Very have a high integrity workforce, and then they can really follow all the regulations and do not try to cut corners things and try to make things for their own advantage, but they must think about the overall benefits to the citizens. It's something that I'm sure hard traits that we need to push for the positive behavior at all the institutions, even at the early stage, like countries like Japan, Taiwan, where they discipline their young, even at the kindergarten stage.
Right.
Okay, we are about time.
So I think participants still coming in. So maybe we give another 1 or 2 minutes before that.
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to our distinguished panelists and also to all the registered participants. Welcome to the competitive talk number 2, which entitled The New Normal Future of Malaysia's TVET Post-COVID-19. On behalf of MPC, my name is Muhammad Muzaffar bin Abdul Hamid. I'm the Deputy Director of the Competitiveness section. We would like to welcome all participants to this webinar with more than almost 200 participants registered for today's webinar. So the background, based on the Global Competitiveness Report 2019, Malaysia performance has been on the decreasing trend. Overall, we are 57 in the ranking. But if we focus on the pillars under the pillar 6 skills, which have the sub-indicators quality of vocational training, which is indicator 6.03, and skill sets for graduates, which is 6.04. The ranks has dropped for quality of vocational training from 9 in 2018 to 12 in 2019. And for skill set of graduates has fallen from 6 to 17. So this is something that we need to show a lot of improvement in terms of the skills and the needs for Malaysia's economy to grow, particularly in order to attract more investment to come in. We need to show to the world that we are able to produce qualified and competent graduates to fulfill the needs of the future, particularly in the advancements of technology, or rapid advancement of technology. That's what we're going to discuss this morning. We have a lot of input from our distinguished panel. It's important so that we can create a sustainable and conducive environment that will ensure that we can improve the quality of life of Malaysians and citizens, and this is in line with where the future of works, TVET skill sets is going to be one of the important criteria for the work of future in Malaysia. So the adoption of this in today's challenges, we have this pandemic, COVID-19, that's clearly set a new normal for us. We see that there's a lot of challenges, not only for the business but also for the education sector. Currently, there's no fixed timeline when the education sector will open up because the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education and Ministry of Higher Education are still studying how to minimize the risks because of the severity of the COVID-19 and the virus is easily transmitted. And how can we enforce social distancing with so many students at this institution? So these are the challenges. Maybe in this new normal, a new pathway such as reinforcing digital solutions and reinforcing online education to mitigate the pandemic impact to Tibet. So the challenges is how ready Malaysians in trying to adopt to this new normal. And I hope that this webinar session will create awareness and added knowledge to all participants on how to survive, particularly in the TVET business and the future of TVET education in Malaysia. I hope that this session will benefit all our viewers, and with distinguished panelists, I'm sure we are able to get a lot of new inputs from today. So first of all, I think I would like to thank Mr. David, Dr. Shamsuri, and I Farid for the panelists for this session. So I pass the session back to our moderator for today's session, that is IR Muhammad Farid Aladin from the Faculty of Innovation and Technology, Taylor's University. So the floor is yours, Mr. Farid.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muzaffar, for the opening talk. So we are actually, I would like to welcome again to the audience on our competitive talk, series number 2, with the title of The New Normal, Future of Malaysia's TVET Post-COVID-19. So to actually discuss this topic here, we have 2 great panelists. They are very important person in TVET. So our first panelist is Dr. Shamsuri Abdullah. He's currently the Director of TVET Coordination Division under Department of Polytechnics and Community College, which is under Ministry of Higher Education. Okay. Prior to the position, Dr. Shamsuri was formerly the Director of the Polytechnic Muazzam Shah Pahang, and he has over 20 years of teaching experience in TVET education. So I would like to welcome Dr. Shamsuri to our session. Thank you very much for willingness to join this session. Maybe it's not too late to wish you Selamat Hari Raya. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So our second panelist, we have Mr. David Koh, industry specialist under Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus. Hello, Mr. David. So Mr. David, he's an experienced engineer and technology leader with vast industrial experience with various companies and institutions, including Intel, where he served as a senior manager of global project management, as well as he was also the senior director under wafer fabrication operations in Maimos Berhad. Currently, Mr. David is active providing his consultancy and become advisory and supportive role in various government agencies, as well as a leadership role in NGOs association, including MISI 4.0, which is Malaysia Industry 4.0 System Integrator, and Malaysian Integrated Chip Designer Association. So we'd like to welcome Mr. David Koh to our session. Thank you very much, sir, for allocating your precious time with us. We really appreciate it. So to begin with the discussion, I would like to actually recap again what Mr. Muzaffar mentioned just now. We hope that this talk can be the catalyst towards improving Malaysia TVET development, which will indirectly contribute to Malaysia global reputation in competitiveness. Right, let's moving on to the topic here. In the round one, we would like to focus first on the current practice and challenges for Malaysia TVET. Maybe my first question goes to Dr. Shamsuri. So Dr. Shamsuri, what are the issues and challenges that faced by TVET as a result of COVID-19 pandemic? Over to you, Dr. Shamsuri.
Well, thank you, Mr. Farid. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to my fellow panelists, Mr. David, also to Cik Muzaffar and MPC. First of all, thank you to the Malaysia Productivity Center for organizing this talk. And I would like to, and also to the viewers who are present today, I would like to begin with to give the background of the TVET in Malaysia. We have is actually more than 10 ministries offering TVET, and the enrollment of students, I think more than 200,000 students. And Ministry of Higher Education is the largest enrollment. I think about 60% of the students comes from polytechnics and community college. So I would be presenting more from the community college and polytechnic views regarding these the issues and challenges faced by us. First of all, I would like to recap since 18 March when the MCO has been put in place. So at that time, the schools and IPTs, the higher education institution, has been instructed to close. So at that time, our main concern is to safeguard our staff and our students to make sure that their safety, their health and welfare is very much taken care. So at that time, many students stranded in hostels, in campus, and in rented house. And government has allocated some money, and we have been instructed to take care of them in terms of their food. And also, there are students also who is being barred, who cannot go home after they finish their industrial training placement, and also work-based learning in companies. So we have also to take care of them, to put them in temporarily in polytechnics hostels. So once they are allowed to go home, so we have to arrange transport and according to the stringent Majlis Keselamatan Negara procedures. So Alhamdulillah, and a good news to everybody that today is the last, what you call, flight that we managed overall 26,000 students from all over Malaysia, whether from Semenanjung Malaysia to Sabah, Sarawak, or vice versa. So that is number one, to the concern on to safeguard our staff and our students. Number two, the issue is, or the challenges of how to move online in a fast manner. So as everybody knows that we already been introduced to this blended learning, online learning, but not at this kind of environment, at this unprecedented event. So we need to move abruptly, to change abruptly from normal face-to-face to online learning. So this posed some problems to the lecturers, instructors, as well as to the students. So as we know, some of the students may not have the digital skills required, and as well as lecturers, especially the old-timer one, maybe they are more digital immigrants, digital migrants rather than digital natives. Maybe the millennials, the young generation, have these more apps or more what you call selesa dengan these new digital tools. But again, there are some students who are, especially the poor one, don't have the digital tools. I think we can move to the one slide that I would like to show, or two slides, regarding our survey to the students. Out of 32,000 students responded. Can we show the pie chart? Can we?
Secretary, can you see it?
Yeah, so by having that pie chart, maybe we can have a clear picture. So about I think about 24% out of that 32,000 respondents saying that they don't have any, whether laptops or computers. Yeah, 24% out of 32,000. It's around maybe around 8,000 students, right? And then in terms of readiness, right? 38%, sorry, 36%, 36.6%, not sure whether they are ready or not for this online mode of learning. So this shows that there is this ambiguity, uncertainty on how to cope with these new types of learning. So this is where, you know, the support, the institutional support, the training support need to be given to students as well as lecturers, to equip them with necessary skills to adapt to this new mode of learning. And one more concern is, as we know, that this online learning is more independent, and we need to have a higher self-motivation to indulge or to involve in this online learning. So therefore, we need to, what you call, sort of motivate our students, to give guidance on how to move into this online learning journey. And also there must be a strong communication between lecturers and students, so that we don't want the students to be put off by, let's say, they do not know how to connect, or you know, they feel bored, there's too much to swallow or to comprehend, you know. So we need to, yeah, this is the one which I said to you, 24% students says that they don't have either laptops or computers. Next. Yeah, this is the one. This is quite recent, this survey. I think within this week we put this online survey, and only about very prepared, some about 6%. So it's a very small percentage of students. So we are quite worried, actually. Okay, next. Okay, another one is we have also to shift the mindset of lecturers, because in their mind, we usually believe that a face-to-face or an active kind of learning, action learning is the most effective one. But then due to this COVID and also post-COVID, we will see that we might don't have that luxury to have this face-to-face. Maybe in terms of face-to-face, we have to reduce the number of students. It has been suggested only 50% of the total number of each institution is allowed to come in order to comply to these social distancing rules. Therefore, we need to what you call, meyakinkan the lecturers that this virtual mode of learning also is at par, if not similar, but we can actually transfer the learning through online. And I would like also to highlight how Microsoft and also Cisco, for example, they do it. They are Microsoft certified. Their certification, Microsoft certification, and also Cisco certification. They do it. They do their exams totally online. So if, let's say, that professional certification can be done 100% online, so why not us? So that is one thing that we food for thought. And next, can we show the next slide? And if we look at this technology integration metrics, we do aware that we have a continuum of platform. One is, let's say, from this MOOCs and Zoom, or which serve as a, what you call as a platform. Towards the end, the higher end, the AI, artificial intelligence, or adaptive learning. So I believe and I recommend that the curriculum developers, the instructors, the program coordinators to sit down and to really discuss which segments of learning, which subjects is suitable for which platforms. And I do what we call recommend also for lecturers to use the already available materials and platforms in the web. You have this like Khan Academy, even YouTube. People say YouTube is the biggest professor in the world, right? So we can take the what you call advantage, take the opportunity of already available material. But the only thing maybe we need to adapt to the needs of the of each lessons. Okay, and last but not least, and the third challenges is due to this, because of this MCO, then it is projected that we will be in recession time. Today, I think SOCSO, according to the STAR, has reported that 42% job losses in Q1 this year compared to last year. So this is quite what we call alarming, and we will see that retrenchments, and it will pose this financial difficulty or this economic difficulty means that less jobs will be offered to our future graduates, and therefore less places might be in sectors that are badly affected by this COVID, for example, in tourism. So how do we move our students as the existing, let's say, tourism students? How do we actually equip them with or move them or shift them to more thriving sectors like logistics? So I think that one I will cover, some of the recommendations and ideas on how to alleviate or overcome this. But I would like also to, if we could see the next slide, some of the materials that I get. Next one. Yeah, this is in March 26 from the STAR. If we could see that, the number of employees who has been subjected to pay cut, those who are instructed to get unpaid leave, unfortunately not paid leave, unpaid leave. And unfortunately also we have a number of workers who has been retrenched or laid off. And next slide. And we could see that from this Roland Berger analysis, tourism and travel, airlines and retail will be badly hit both on liquidity and profitability fronts. And I would think Mr. David will explain further from the industry side the effect on the industry. So I think for the first round, that is my input. So over to you, Cik Farid.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamsuri. That's a very very rich information. Where it's very interesting when Dr. Shamsuri talk about the new mode of learning, which has been talking about it for quite some time. But the transformation towards that is a bit slow. But now maybe this is a very good time since we have no choice but to transform. And then Dr. Shamsuri also mentioned about the concern on the practical side in TVET. As you know, the practical side of TVET is a core in TVET learning. But now, yet you cannot do the practical training. Then how to cater with that? So that will be a very interesting topic to be discussed. And the multitasking part, which is actually migration of skills in between discipline, which is it seems to be important among graduates now. Maybe I would like to have a different perspective from industry. Would like to move to our second panel here. Mr. David, from the scope of TVET, how do you see this pandemic affecting industries? Which sectors are badly affected and which sectors are thrive due to this pandemic? Over to you, Mr. David.
Thank you, Engineer Farid. Thank you, MPC, for the invitation. Good afternoon, all, especially our panelists and also Mr. Muzaffar. And I would like to trigger your attention. Actually, during the MCO, that time, actually, you are looking at that. Does Malaysian ready for the phase MCO? Actually, the answer is no. So a lot of people have a panic button during the MCO. Number one is announced on the 18th of March. So if the industry totally stopped and they do not know how to respond. And what I can see and observe, the inputs come from the industry. There are several sectors we are doing good, but there are several sectors we are not really perform to that. And very majority is quite bad heated because of the MCO or COVID-19 pandemic issues. So from the sector's performance during the COVID-19, so I look at the worst sector first. I can tell you that's how Dr. Shamsuri mentioned. Number one, you can see that is a tourism industry. Until today, tourism industry still do not operate, and they are still considered as a hibernate or lockdown at this moment. The other industry that seriously impacted is entertainment industry. I think a lot of the Malaysians miss the EPL, the English Premier League. Okay, some of them miss the NBA. So especially my friend in EPL, those who are Liverpool supporter, they are waiting when the EPL will resume. So that is the one that you can see that is the industry that really impacted. And the other industry that impacted is the textile industry. I do not put it here, but textile industry is another industry that impacted. Malaysian over here, we have a few factory doing the textile clothes. The reason is because they are the provider or they are the supplier to Adidas, Nike, and all these kind of the bigger brand. But however, due to the Olympics have been postponed to next year, so whatever material and goods that they build today is unable to consume. So these are the challenges that they are facing. So they are unable to keep the business. In the positive side, some of the area that we are doing good during MCO, they are still allowed to operate, which is a essential industry. So can we look at that? One of that is the glove industry. Okay, so you see the glove industry today. You want to buy glove, you know, Malaysia produce about 65% of the global glove industry actually from Malaysia. So the latex industry, the company like Top Glove, Hatta Lega, Kosan. Okay, two indicator. One, those who are playing share, their share is flying like rockets. Okay. Then second one, because I'm helping some of the company that who contact me, they want to access to the company like glove provider. When I talk to this glove provider, they are only can entertain the new business after next year June 2021. So can you imagine that their lines booking is full. So we have some clinic session conducted to our SME. Who are the vendor to the company like Top Glove, for example. Currently, Top Glove has 600 48 manufacturing lines, all run at full capacity. Okay, Hatta Lega had 168 manufacturing lines, all run at full capacity. So you can imagine that this industry, how great their business is, especially those who are producing the glove using in medical glove, or more precise is a surgical glove. Okay, they are doing pretty well. Another area they look at that also is one of the area you look at there is the face mask. So face mask industry, we do not have a many face mask manufacturer here, but I list out 5 of them is doing there, which produce about 1.2 million face masks a day. And the demand of the face mask from MCO until now, and moving forward for the next 6 months, I think whenever people move around, when you go to the back to school or what, I think face mask is still needed. So the business is still very promising, and you can see that there is a need that these 2 sectors, those I can categorize them as a essential area, more to the PPE, okay, personal protect equipments. Then the next area that the one you're doing that just newly announced in the 1st of June by Newsweek Times, Star, and others, you can see that a company from Malaysia who may get the license to manufacture, okay, the name called K1 Technology, become the only company in Malaysia and ASEAN licensed to manufacture and distribute NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. They call that Ventilator Intervention Technology Accessibility Local, or we call VITER. So this is the ventilators target for the COVID-19. So you do not expect that Malaysia can produce ventilators. At one time, we worry that we do not have enough ventilators during COVID-19. But from there, you see, they are a company in Malaysia can produce the international standard ventilator. This is already get the FDA certified. So they are producing this product to the global market for that. So in this indirectly to tell us that our skill set, especially manufacturing skill set, we are the global manufacturers level. So you can see that this is the skill set that we already have in Malaysia. Okay, the next slide that I will show it to you on the some of the changes. This is on the 30th of May lately. So you know that SpaceX been launched. Then on the 30th, I would like to trigger your attention on some of the changes in terms of technology. Even astronauts, they themselves, they have to transform their skill set following the changes of the technology. So you see the cockpit of the spacecraft. You see the next slide. You can press next. You can see the cockpits. During 1967 in Apollo 4, you see that the cockpit is almost every part is a manual. Everything is a manual to adjust. So you see the 2002, the space shuttle. You see that is a semi-digital or called semi-auto in that. But the latest SpaceX Falcon 9 just newly launched on 30th of May, they are only 3 touch screen there. So to make that, I prepare a small video clip to share with you, and we can see this video clip how the technology changes that cause our skill set. Astronaut also need to follow the changes.
Have an amazing flight and enjoy those views of our beautiful planet.
On May 30th, 2 NASA astronauts climbed inside a space capsule and launched on top of a rocket, en route to the International Space Station.
Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
That sounds routine, but it's actually monumental for 2 different reasons. For starters, these are the first 2 American astronauts to launch to orbit from American soil in nearly a decade. And the vehicle they're riding in, it was commercially made by the company SpaceX, not NASA. It's a culmination of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, and the first time a private company has ever launched humans to orbit. If the rest of this mission goes well, it could kickstart a very different era of human spaceflight. Inside and out, the mission has a very different look from human launches of the past.
Okay. Right. Over to you, Mr. Farid. There is a changes in the industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. David. Very insightful opinion there. I very fascinated when you actually emphasize about this digital transformation. So it seems like we cannot run away from this transformation. So education industry have to react, not just to be implemented in some institution. Maybe you have to go comprehensively so that the graduates can benefit from it. So moving on, we are actually coming to our second round here, where we actually going to focus on this topic of a new normal. I think we are getting familiar with this term here, new normal, or we call it new norm, or normal baharu. Maybe I would like to this question to Dr. Shamsuri. This post-COVID-19 period is closely related to this term. How do TVET institutions respond in mitigating the effect of COVID-19 and ensure the same quality of TVET education? Do you foresee a new norm in TVET teaching and learning? Over to you, Dr. Shamsuri.
Thank you, Farid. Yes, certainly we will be in a new normal, inshallah. But let me explain on the response, the immediate response that the Polytechnic and Community College Education Department has put forward. Number one is we what you call arrange, as I explained before, that once we have been allowed to send students to go home, so we have to send back our students go back home, and we have to follow strictly what the MKN has been put forward in their SOP. Number two is we also produce a standard operating procedure for our governance of our institutions, and also we have also prepared the post-COVID SOP for teaching and learning to be carried out. And thirdly, we have to reschedule our academic semester's schedule, and because of this COVID-19, we have also have to shorten the semester session from 14 weeks to 12 weeks. Okay, and we have converted the assessment from the overall assessment to be a continuous assessment. So we have made away with the final examination. So it is 100% continuous assessment through quizzes, through tests, and projects and presentation. Thirdly, this is the most important one. How do we move into online learning? So we have to have a good strategy, a turnaround strategy. And as I said before, students and lecturers has to be given training, and initially they might have difficulties to adapt to this new norm, but I think this is only temporary. Once they familiarize, for example, like Zoom, I think now everybody would like to video conferencing with Zoom or any other platforms. And I would also like to suggest to the government to subsidize for those who can't afford to buy, for students who can't afford to buy computers or laptop, to have one. And we also foresee that it is quite difficult for the disabled students, for example, to have an online learning, and therefore we would open for them to come to the campus, to be in the campus, so that it will easy for them to follow the teaching and learning session. Now, of course, the students registration and orientation week, I think we can move that into online. We can prepare all the ta'limat or the briefings into a pre-recorded lecture, for example. And of course, we have also to schedule the lab work into small batches of students in a staggered manner, as what have been described by Mr. David. Maybe after this, lecturers have to work day and night. They have sessions in lab in daytime and also at night time. But again, we have to make sure the safety of the students. And one more thing is the co-curriculum. For example, the ROTU or the the police, what do you call that co-curriculum? So we need to maybe postpone that. And I think we have what you call plan for that, to postpone the curriculum action to maybe to next year. And the last and but not least is regarding the effect of the industry, the badly affected industry. So it will what you call, we might have less placement for students who will undergo industrial training, and of course also might be a reduced opportunity for employment for our graduates. Therefore, what we need is to talk with industry, and how we can overcome this. For example, for this industrial training, so how can we, let's say, what you call, invite industries guest lecturer to the institutions, for example, and also how do we reskill graduates from, let's say, the tourism industry, which is badly affected, into logistics, for example. So we might have some short courses, what we call it boot camps or finishing school, to equip students in discipline that are badly affected to move into more thriving industries like logistics, for example. And also we need to emphasize entrepreneurship, digital entrepreneurship, for example, online business, so that students can what we call be on their own because of the less job opportunities, so they can become entrepreneurs themselves in digital entrepreneurship and also social entrepreneurship. So I think that is some of my take for this new normal for TVET. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shamsuri. Thank you, Dr. Shamsuri, for the opinion. And it's also interesting to hear about that as suggestion. I hope that someone from close to minister can hear about this, because the readiness of students is one of the huge barriers towards this transformation in terms of digitalization. So I hope something can be done with that. So now moving on with different perspective, we'd like to ask Mr. David. So due to this new normal, which is actually caused by the pandemic, is there a significant impact or changes to the businesses in terms of manpower capacity and human capital development? Over to you, Mr. David.
Yes, Farid, yeah, very significant changes happen in the industry now. So I would like to give you an example where the area that you see very significant changes in the today we name it as a new normal, and we foresee that moving forward for the post-COVID-19, this is the changes that will happen. Can we go to the slide that I prepared? You can see some of the new normal that you can look at that. Number one, you will see that we name it most of the manufacturing in Malaysia. You will see that they become a dark factory. Okay, the dark factory, this term or this new term coming up actually is reflects that the manufacturing running with the condition that where the light is off, so the manufacturing area is dark. Okay, of course it may not turn out every area, but some of the area is still there. But where are the people, where the people that the whole manufacturing line have been upgraded, have been digitized, and this is aligned with the Industry 4.0, then you will notice that there's a lot of area that there are no human inside the building. So from there you can see there is a very significant changing from the MCO. A lot of the factory, those who have been forced by their customer, especially those we are a lot of the contract manufacturer in Malaysia, their customer have been forcing them to implement the element of the Industry 4.0. So they have implemented some, but during MCO they have to get it happen. So dark factory, this term you will hear that, and more factory, especially in Penang and Selangor, you can see that most of them will start to turn to this kind of environment, the dark factory. But in the other hand, the way I look at what Dr. Samsuri mentioned, that all online, but however, those we need the practical, the skill set. Myself is from the Penang Technical School, so we know that our workshop time every day 3 hours in the workshop that we need to spend that to run the lathe machine, to do all the mechanical work. How are we going to offset that? Okay, so you look the other hand, you look at that. I am foreseeing that this will happen. The campus will become a bright campus. We see that the campus currently work on the office hour 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I think moving forward, the campus have to run 24 hours. This is some of the SOP that we have defined, that we still need to continue with the social distancing, and the small group of the student only can go to the lab or workshop. And this is the thing that batch and batch will be there. You see the number that the student will be less, but the operation hour for the workshop to utilize the facilities will be there, because industry still need a competence, hands-on engineers, hands-on technicians. We still need that. So whatever theory that they have is not sufficient if they do not hands-on. Okay, because we still don't have a device, so-called AR, VR, or mixed reality and all that. This device still unable to get a student that feeling and touching, that kind of feelings you don't have. But maybe in future there are, when we have an emotional sensor, somebody invent that, then you can feel that when you're doing virtually, then you can feel that kind of the same. But today there's still a gap. We still don't have that kind of the devices can help you. So the lab still needed, the workshop still needed, but the operation hour need to extend longer. How the lecturers and the lab attendants have to collaborate together. We need to maximize this, because without this we cannot move forward. So I will give you an example. What are the human resource changes? So you turn to the next slide. I give you a case study example what happened in industry during the MCO. This is before MCO. This is a factory that who produce a wafer, 45,000 wafer a month. They are process engineer, the equipment engineer, facility engineer, all inside the manufacturing area. But those who are non-engineering related, for financial, accounting, all that on the left-hand side, you see that they are in a separate building. But for the manufacturing floor, these are the people that working inside there. So during MCO, get to the next slide. During MCO 1, you can see that what is happening, they are only allowed to run 30% of the workforce. Okay, can you turn to the next slide? Okay, the next slide, it is showing us that during MCO 1 implement on 13th March, MITI allowed some of the industry, which is the essential related. Semiconductor is one of the essential related, because we produce some of the test kit for COVID-19. So these are the company that they are still allowed to operate with the 30% of the workforce. So on the left, you see that we put there WFH. This is a lot of the new term. Everybody understand what is WFH, work from home. So a lot of the people that are asked to work from home, only a small number of the workforce is allowed to go in. When this go in, you see that with the 30% of the workforce, but the output is only 20%. Okay, what happened? Because most of the time that they are in the time of the adjustment, and what they are doing 20% is actually what they just complete the WIP. WIP in the industry, we name that work in progress. They just complete the WIP, then finish with that 20% output, then they just ship out. But it cannot operate with that, because they need to adjust. So all the engineers start to think how to do that. So can you go to the next slide? So during MCO2, within that 2 weeks, we are still same with the 30% of the workforce, but you see that there are some integration happen. You see that process engineer, the number is reduced, and also you see the equipment engineer number reduced, because they need to give other people to come in to do the payroll and all that. But the integration happen between the process engineer and equipment engineer and facility engineer, then safety industry engineering with the quality assurance. So this kind of the changes, because why everyone have to do course training in a very short time frame. We have to enhance the skill set. That is the one that they call buddy system in there. Equipment and 1% engineer and equipment engineer, or one equipment engineer and facility engineer. This practice means that we need a cross-align multiple skill set that needed. You no longer can stand alone the kind of skill set. So this happened that you see the output of that. The output has tremendously increased with the small number of the capacity, but they managed to push back the output. So next slide. So during the MCO3, where most of the industry is allowed to going back with the 50%, the headcount is allowed to that because the people start to have a correct SOP. You see during the MCO3, with the 50% of the workforce, most of the factory that they able to produce 70% of the output. Okay, not 50% of workforce produce 50%, no. Because this is how Malaysia make a difference, because we are quite good in doing execution. So during the execution, there's a lot of the thing that we try to push it up to maximum. Some of the factory, the best I received the input is 78% with the 50% of the workforce. Okay, this is quite a great achievement. Of course, from here, in the manufacturing, the shop floor there is not nothing happened with this kind of the overlapping on the role or the functional that they are doing. Actually, there's a lot of the new invention happen inside the manufacturing floor. A lot of the new invention. So we name in this kind of invention during MCO as an ad hoc invention or ad hoc innovation. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so what happened is the next. What is in the post-COVID-19? Somebody need to go and do the collection of the ad hoc invention. For example, what I can share with you is like Intel in US. Intel in US try to collect all these new ad hoc invention in the manufacturing. They're trying to do that. Those who are good invention, Intel have the Intel capital. They try to fund them. Then they link them to enhance the new skill set that in the ad hoc invention. Okay, so there is one. And China, Alibaba also have a team that to scout around for the new ad hoc invention. This is some of the from ad hoc invention. They want to know any special new skill set that needed. They need to further enhance, talk to the academicians how to do it as a proper skill set development. So this is some of in China. I think the one of the company that they use because of the lockdown, a company called Yan, the training center. So today, because of the 3 months lockdown, this company provide the online training. Then today, China is already back to the school today, most of the students. But the students still subscribe to this because they get used to it. So every day come back from 3 hours online or 4 hours online, they come back, they still attend 1.5 hours online. So this is some of the changes. They adapt to that kind of the environment. They feel that it's useful. So this is the new changes that we need to quickly look at that. And of course, somebody provides some of the technology behind the screen on that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is what I want to conclude that from the engineer Farid asking just now. Last month, I read this book, I think the higher education in the era of the Industry 4 regulations, published in 2018. Okay, so from there, you can see that actually in the past, in the book is carried out, in the past, Education Institute only equip students with single skill set, then they can use it for their entire career life. Okay, that's in the past. But today, a single skill set does not enough for the student to get a job. Okay, it's very clear. So from there, I will look at our global competitiveness report at the pillar 6, number 4, that what Mr. Mustafa mentioned just now. We are ranking number 17. We need this to be very clear that we need to enhance the skill set for the graduate. Today, graduate cannot equip with a single skill set. Human resource need more that. That's how I explained to you just now. The engineer inside the manufacturing area, they need to embed it with the multiple skill set. So this is the changes immediately we need to take. Mindset need to change very fast to adapt. They need to adapt in the new environment. Number 2 is they need to enhance their skill set, become multitasking. Okay, this is the one that to move forward. Okay, over to you, Mr. Farid.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. Very interesting discussion here, especially when Mr. David mentioned about the concept of that dark factory and bright campus there. I'm going to get a picture that maybe one day we will have a night shift lecturers or maybe morning shift lecturers to carry on with the business. Maybe that is the future new norm. So I think audience out there also, some of them are educators. So we should try to adapt with this new, the possibility is there. And then secondly, it's interesting when Mr. David brought out about the multitasking. It's a challenges in the human capital development in companies, where rather than training staff with specific skills, now there is a time to actually restructure the training and development of staff, where they are able to multitask during the hard condition. That is a very good concern during this time. And then the ad hoc innovation, that is something new that we need to actually adapt. Right. Okay, now we finish round number 2. I would like to actually open up with the Q&A session from audience before we move to our round 3. Okay, is there any question from the audience? This is the good time to actually provide questions. I'm opening up the Q&A session to the audience. Is there any question? And you please feel free also to ask question in bahasa Malaysia. Never mind, boleh tanya juga dalam bahasa Malaysia. We do not want to have a barrier in terms of language here. You can ask the questions, and then our panel will answer. Is there any question? Okay, I have one question here. The question sounds like this. May I ask if what certification program for online instructor and system suitable for online learning for TVET instead of using Zoom, where more to meeting? Maybe this question concern about a certified program to actually adapt with online learning rather than depending on the existing medium that we have. Maybe any of the panel can respond to this. Maybe the concern is a structured way of actually transforming, for example, our human capital, right? So now they are depending on the existing platform, which is not structured. So maybe moving towards that transformation, we need a structured way to actually move our human capital from a traditional way towards the digitalization. Maybe one of the panel would like to respond with that. Mr. David?
Yeah, actually, I would like to touch that. Actually, I prepare that slide. Actually, in the one. Actually, we have some of the, like what Dr. Samsuri mentioned. They are online training for some of the instructor courses, including the what have provided by Microsoft, Cisco, and lately under I check Intel also have the online for the Intel partner alliance training. So they provide all the training for the instructor for the AI, okay, through open Vino sessions and all that. But the way I look at that is after you complete the session, you are allowed, you need to take a test. When you pass the test, they will give you the badge. Like what Intel did is they give the Intel badge, which is recognized by the industry player that they have. That is one of the certification. The other one is some of the online training that they will pair you up with some of the online university. For example, Intel engaged with the Udacity University. So that the Udacity University will pair you, will give you this kind of the certification that you to say that you are the qualified instructor to do that. But some area need practicals. So some area need hands-on. They still give that you an assignment that you need to do it. For example, some of the programming that you need, for some of that, you are still need to hands-on. That is the, but there's no hardware or physical that is provided. So far, all this is more to the digital skill set that they are having at this moment. Maybe Dr. Samsuri can share some from the government standpoint.
I think it's true that we have certification online, But then again, you know, whether it is paid or FOC. So, but I think if you really search, there are those MOOCs, a massive open online course, which is free, is open source, and we can follow that. Yeah? They have for various period. So I think I would rather suggest to the viewers to search, and you will find there's a good one, especially during MCOs. Many universities, Ivy League university, open that for free. Actually, even PwC, if I'm not mistaken, have opened for 3-month free trial period, so you can actually experiment and also go through their modules. Yeah, so I would suggest for the viewers to go and search in the web. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the response. I've received quite a lot of questions here, maybe and quite a lot related to the ministry. So I think maybe I can lump 2 questions here. One question is concerned about immediate policy change in our education system with our new norm. And secondly, ada soalan, syllabus pendidikan akan dikaji semula dalam masa terdekat. I think mungkin Dr. Shamsuri, maybe you can enlighten us with these 2 questions regarding the policy change as to reflect to this new norm. And secondly, is about the syllabus, education syllabus.
Yeah,
maybe you can respond to that.
I try to yes, sure. I try to respond to that 2 questions. Very important question, actually. The immediate policy change. And also the what is the second one?
Syllabus, education syllabus. The revision of the education syllabus. Pendidikan dikaji semula. Soalan dalam bahasa Malaysia, adakah syllabus pendidikan akan dikaji semula?
Okay. So I think, as we all know, we are living in a society that is constantly changed. We have a new, new government. We have a new these COVID things. And we have new technology, so of course we have to adapt to change, to adapt to these new changes. So of course there will be new policy. For example, we have this WKB, Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama. Yeah. So in that Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama, is already stated that there will be a new engine of growth in halal industry, even in tourism, right? So we need to accordingly change our syllabus, our policy, in order to be at par with the technology. And we couldn't be afford to left behind, because we are now is at the verge of this efficiency economy. Just a little bit further into an innovative economy. The reason is because we are stuck, what we call it, the economists call middle income trap. Middle income trap, because the industry maybe Mr. David disagree with me. Some industries, let's say, they reluctant to mechanize or to go to robotics or automation. They would like to depend on cheap labor to become more and more productive by using cheap labor. But we cannot afford to do that, because other countries like Indonesia or Vietnam, they might have more, cheap labor, and we can't compete with them. The only thing that we can compete with innovation. So we have to change our industries, the way we do things, the teaching methodology, so that we can produce a workforce that is agile to new changes, to the new technology, able to learn new things. And the main thing is to have this lifelong learning mindset. So therefore, in order to do that, we have to, from time to time, to change the syllabus, change the curriculum, in order to be at par with the changes that occurs in the environment. That is my response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the response, Dr. Shamsuri. I think we have quite a lot of questions here. I think this one goes to Mr. David. Maybe I can lump these questions about the multitasking, because the audience, they agree with Mr. David elaboration on the multitasking. But then the question is, how can we train the students with multidisciplinary ability when the curriculum structure is so rigid? I think maybe you might want to give your opinion on this.
Okay, thank you. This is a very good question. As an industry player, we work closely with the training institutions like the polytechnic, university. What we are facing, like what the question raised, that I mean the curriculum is already there. How can you do something to change the curriculum? This is the challenges that when we face. So when I share with you that when I work with Intel, we need the syllabus that to produce the engineer can do high-speed board design. So we send our rep to talk to the university to see that any room to change the curriculum. But I tell you that the answer is no, because the university engineering courses, they need to fulfill certain criteria and requirement. Then they need to ensure that the student coming out, they can certify, become a qualified professional engineer that under the IEM, Institute of Engineering Malaysia. So what we are doing differently is we design the syllabus from the industry. We try to embed that kind of the training in between the semester. For example, university normally they have a 2 semester in a year. They have a 1.5 semester which student go do the internship, or that we are using that window to embed such course in with the syllabus that we are design. So that is the one that today the student cannot engage with the industry until the year they're going to graduate, only engage with industry. So we hope that the student in the first year and second year start to engage with the industry. This is the changes that we would like to see, because in the early days we cannot. We just wait for the student graduate, then only we can engage them. No, today is industry players would like to engage much earlier. In the first year and second year, we want to embed some of the courses inside. So what are the software that they use, all that. So the industry boys will make sure these are the courses that can be taught. Then the instructor definitely come from the industry. Industry will tell them, okay, this is the one that we would like you to have. So we are not able to change the syllabus or the curriculum. This is already defined, but we managed to embed it some of the slot that it may not take too long, but that is some of the we plant some seed of the engineering skill set that we want. Okay, over to you, Mr. Farid.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mr. Farid, can I
yes.
try to add to that
yes.
question?
Yes, Dr. Shamsuri, please.
I think another way, maybe we cannot change the curriculum, but we can actually tweak or make some modification towards this final year project or final semester projects. I think one of the ways might be we might have a multidiscipline team, meaning to say, let's say is engineering projects. But again, in the preliminary to that project, there might be some analysis, some analysis, some feasibility study. This is where might be the marketing people or the accounting students. So they will do one project, let's say engineering project, but then consists of different students from different faculties that can chip into one project. So the marketability, the costing can be done by these accounting students, but the technical part is the engineering students. That is one possible what we call, in order to infuse this multidisciplinary or this multitasking, the one is mentioned by Mr. David. And one more thing is to have the real industry problems be given to the students. So to come out with new ideas, new innovative solution that and then they can pitch to the industry players, whether their ideas is, you know, have merit or not. So that is my idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That is brilliant. That is a very important response there. I like the ideas, and I think Mr. David ideas should be leveraged to universities all around Malaysia to actually have the benefit out of it. Maybe due to this time constraint, I would like to take one more question. I think this question is interesting here. How can Malaysian education sector compete with online services like YouTube and MIT Open Courseware? Their internet skills and infrastructure is very high, and the quality of their material and lecturers is very high. I think this is a very important question here, since we have a lot of resources out there. So we as a country, especially in our education sector, how can we compete with this? At the end of the day, it comes to the competition, right? Or maybe it comes to the where we can actually stand by our own. We have our own resources, right? So I think this is a very very nice question. Anyone want to respond to this? Maybe Mr. David?
I'm very anxious now.
Okay, okay, Dr. Shamsuri, you can go first.
There is one saying, if you cannot beat them, join them. So as I said before, the biggest professor in the world. We cannot beat them. They are also, you know, the Google. Google is the biggest encyclopedic knowledge there. So we cannot beat that, but we complement, we take opportunity of that. You know, we can use whatever materials in YouTube, and even we can share and contribute back to the society by posting our videos in YouTube and so on and so forth. I think that is the first thing that we need to align our approach with regards to YouTube, Google, and so on and so forth. I think we really appreciate at this point of time that we have Google, we have YouTube, and so many other resources that can enrich the learning. And again, as we know, that is not the only thing. We live in a real physical environment. That is only part of our life. But we need to, what you call, balance that with the physical environment, the communication, the real thing, the practical thing. As what has been mentioned by Mr. David, we still need workshops. We still need physical workshops and labs, and doing, you know, all the works in labs and workshops. So that is my take on this. Mr. David, you might have brilliant.
I just want to echo what Dr. Shamsuri said. Is not compete with them, but it's just complement. So we need to work on that. But before you able to complement, get our instructor or training institution ready. Because when you go there, people look at that. Are you comply with the standard of that? So for some of the online training, we make sure that we need to qualify ourselves that first. So from the overseas standpoint, when I work with a company in the United States, we know they will look at that. That instructor first is a qualification. Are they comply? Do they have the kind of skill set? So who certified them? Okay, so that is the one. Once you have that, actually we can share we complement with them, and we can share our best practice. Best practice, because on each region maybe it will be some different practice. So we share our best practice with them. This is the way that we complement back some of the skill set, some of the learning experience that we already gained from here. Okay, over to you, Mr. Parit.
Yeah, thank you. I think the audience is comparing with China, where they produce all by their own. For example, they have their own search engine now, Huawei working on it, and then they have their own clouds. They have their own everything. Whatever Google have, they have as well. Maybe one day we can reach that level if private sector and government work side by side. Okay, right. I think due to time constraint here, we should move to our third round. We're talking about the modernization of TVET for Malaysia competitiveness. Right. This question goes to Dr. Shamsuri. As mentioned by Mr. Muzaffar, talking about the ranking and so on, the improvement of this TVET development is actually affecting Malaysia reputation in the global level. So as a way forward, what are the factors that need to be focused in effort to modernize our TVET? Over to you, Dr. Shamsuri.
Thank you, Mr. Farid, and also fellow panelists, Mr. David, Zafar. I really like this question actually. First and foremost, I think we need to rebrand TVET. TVET has been, associated with second class, last choice of for students, and in US they call it CTE, Career and Technical Education. In Canada, they call it CTS, Career and Technology Studies. In Australia, they have TAFE, T-A-F-E, Tertiary and Further Education. In Singapore, they have a movement called Skills Future or Future Skills in Singapore. So I think it's long overdue that we need to upgrade that. TVET is associated with technology. Not only with 3D, dangerous, difficult, and one more is what? Dirty.
Dirty.
So yeah, dirty. I think for Malaysian, they don't don't mind to be involved in these 3D jobs. Look at Singapore. How many commute every day from Malaysia to Singapore? They are doing that 3D jobs, but they get higher pay. So similar to Malaysia, according to studies that for the diploma holder TVET graduates, 64% receive less or 1,500 and less starting salary. So how can we entice students to take TVET courses, whereas they can receive more than that by being a Grab or Panda food runner, or working at fast food restaurant plus allowance, they can get more than that, 1,800, 1,900 per month. So we need to upgrade, to give a more fresh outlook to TVET. And maybe we need to regulate certain skill sectors. For example, like in electrical or energy, they have this Suruhanjaya Tenaga. In order to you have chargeman or wireman, you have to get certain certification. But in plumbing, for example, there is no regulation. In auto mechanic, for example, there is no certification by law. And another area I think is we need a close relationship between industry and TVET institutions. The word is co-ownership now. We have to be together in producing quality graduates, because at the end of the day, the beneficiary is the industries. So in order to reduce the mismatch, industries always complain that whatever we produce, they don't have these skills lah, attitude tak bagus lah, tak boleh kerja tanah atas panas terik lah, all these things. So I think the onus is not on the government themselves or the TVET institutions themselves. We together must talk, right from the students intake, curriculum development until the graduate, the students graduate. And last but not least, the way forward also is digitalization. As we can see, the internet has changed everything. And I would like to suggest the element of digitalization, like this coding, this IoT being infused in the subjects. For example, like the logistics or business students, they must learn also, let's say, analytics, data analytics. For electronic students, they must know also IoT, for example, so embed in their curriculum. And way forward also, I could see that TVET is a solution provider for social entrepreneurship. We can see during this COVID-19, many of the TVET institutions produce this face shield, these PPE gowns, even from our community colleges and polytechnics who have this design school. So they produce that. So this contribute to solve society's problems, and this is where I think TVET institutions could play their role, their important role. And we could see also the issue of sustainability will be much important today and in the future. And I think TVET has so much to contribute, how to have a more cleaner environment, how to use what you call clean energy. All this, I think, have what you call relationship with technical vocational education and training. So that is my take on this. Thank you. Over to you,
Thank
Mr.
you very
Farid.
much, Dr. Shamsuri. It's very interesting when you actually touch on the rebranding of TVET. I'll sort of have the same opinion with you. And then the other one about the regulation, regulating some work related to TVET. I think Malaysia is a way forward now when there is the existence of MBOT, the Malaysia Board of Technologies. I think that is one of the way to do this. Right. Moving on to Mr. David, I'd like to have a different side of view here. How can a private institution and business entity support the effort to modernize TVET in our country? Over to you, Mr. David.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Farid. These are good questions, and I prepare a slide that we can show you between the private and this TVET institution. Actually, they need to work as a team. The approach need to be the different, because previously the engagement model is more likely that from the industry we need to go and find, because our resource pipeline, we need to go to TVET institution, we need to go to polytechnic, we need to go to college community, and we need to go there to university to find the suitable resource. So I think the model, I think will be changed because today to get a job is quite challenging for the student. The training institution like the TVET institution today not only need to provide the skill set that needed to the student, but they also need to ensure the student can secure a job moving forward. Okay, so this is one of the one. But in order to do that, we in the industry we always use the word market watchdog, the person that who watch any changes in the market. So previously, I think the TVET institution, you just wait for your customer to come. But today, I think the TVET institution need to move out the first step to look for the industry that you wish to collaborate. Okay, can you look at it? Go to the slide that to look at this. The slide that Malaysia Institute and also the partnership that you can see from here. Let's say I take one industry, maybe semiconductors. We put in there. There are one association there, consists in Malaysia. We have all the wafer fab there: Infineon, Cetera, Expat, onsemi, Fuji Electric, and Osram. All these have the wafer fabrication fab in their own premises. So what we have there is a TVET institution from the university that they have, including the polytechnic. I put in there the Polytechnic Malaysia and all the community and all that. What we are looking at is, I put there the big University Malaya inside there as an example. You see the logo of Infineon inside there. That means we would like to see the TVET institutions put a first step, go and invite and talk to the industry player. Find a place for them. Can they put them their footprint there? That is the way that you start the first the collaboration. Because the training skill set, then Infineon do not need to go and find many university. Then they know that all their resources pipeline can rely on this university. Okay, this is some of the example they put in there. When I was stationed in US, I saw Intel have the Intel lab somewhere in Stanford University and the University of Bakery and all this. So they know that, okay, I have the resource pipeline come from these various university. So this is the way that, but it's not Intel going to approach them, but the university come and talk to Intel. Okay, we have this location, we have this building. What skill set that you need? Come, we discuss. You put a footprint there. Then the Ministry of Education must have a vision. You cannot simply ask industry player to move out. Okay, you must have some flexibility policy that allow the industry to place the equipment inside the university. Right? When they put the equipment inside the university, the equipment not belong to university. This is just consigned from industry. So with that flexibility, people move in and out because industry will come and change the equipment due to the technology changes. So you see that we have a lot of the packagings. So today packaging moved to the wafer bumping. So the technology changed, equipments change, but university cannot afford to own that kind of the expensive equipment. You let industry player to consign the equipment, plug at your place and do something out of that. This is one of the initiative that I think university should or TVET institution should put the first step, how to tighten up the relationship. Okay, for example, that's how where I mentioned that you need to watch what is the changes. So for your information, you see lately announcement, okay, within these few days, last month in the 6th of May, Keysight Technologies in Penang announced they are operating with the new testing lab in Penang. Okay, then on the 2nd of June, B. Brown in Penang announced that they will set up a test center at Batu Kawan. On the 3rd of June, which is yesterday, another announcement by Bosch, testing lab for semiconductor component and sensor. They will set up. So when this kind of announcement happen, the TVET institution need to put a first step. You need to talk to MIDA or talk to the NCIA or the regional corridor. Who can I talk to their company? Because normally the company already have representative here. Try to talk to them. Then try to win the discussion. Okay, say come to my campus, you can set up here. Because from here, you see that a trend changes, very clear to tell you. Malaysia, from the labor intensive manufacturing last time, we are moving to some of the area doing testing. So with these three multinational setup testing, Keysight, B. Brown, Bosch, all testing. So indirectly tell you that our resource pipeline that you need to prepare is a testing engineer. Okay, so what are the skill set that needed for testing engineer that you have to prepare that, but you need to go to talk to them first. Can you come and set up here? So with this kind of collaboration, you put a footprint, earlier footprint for them to come, because normally they set up a center, you take about 18 months. That center only can set up, but industry cannot wait for 18 months. When the building ready, only look for resources. They will engage you after 1 year. They will start to engage the training institution. Okay, so can you see the next slide? So actually we have a lot of opportunities. Actually, like what Dr. Samsuri mentioned just now, the skill set, some soft skill set that you can learn. If you pay the AI, well, AI is a new thing, yes, but do you aware that AI courses you can learn through online? It's a free training course. You can register yourself. Intel give you 3-month trainings on that. After that, if you are good, they can enroll you to the UDA University, which is a partner university with the Intel. Another 3 months. You will get a 6-month. Most of them is a free training courses given. Okay. So next slide. You can see that we are not waiting to get industry boy come and say what to do, but you need to move the first step. For those TVET instructor and all that, you can equip yourself through this training session. I asked my daughter, go and learn all the Python and all that programming stuff online. And at the age of 15 years old, she started to play around with all this when the school holiday at this moment. So that is the opportunity that for everyone have an opportunity to learn. What happened today, all digitization, one thing good is you make the world become flat. So you have all the opportunities. Those who previously you need to travel to US and pick up certain knowledge, today you do not need that. You can pick up online today. So this is a very significant changes that happen. And I hope that collaboration between the TVET institutions in Malaysia may not wait and see the industry boy come and talk to you. No, you take a first step, go and talk to them. Because with all these announcements, you know that there are thousands of the job opportunity will be created. So go and talk to them, whether they can put your footprint in your institution. Then government from the Ministry of the Higher Education or Ministry of Education, you need to frame it out clearly. You need to allow the industry to park the equipment there. Right? The asset Okay, cannot become your asset. The asset they park, after that when technology change, they will upgrade again. So this is needed, because another area before I hand over to Engineer Farid is with this collaboration, any IP, intelligent property, okay, intellectual property that you found, you need to put it very clear, because industry boy may not come in university when they found some new invention. The IP is the killing factor today in Malaysia. Okay, today in Malaysia, this is the one stop all the industry players coming to the university. But how flexible is this? This one we have to further discuss on what condition, because industry boy may not come in, because when they bring in the technology together with the IP embedded. So this is the one that we need to get it very clear from that. Okay, over to you, Engineer Farid.
Thank you very much. Very interesting sharing, Mr. David, a man of opportunity. A lot of opportunity there been shared by Mr. David. Maybe I would like to talk to you personally after this about all those opportunities. it's very interesting. But unfortunately, we are running out of time. That's all time we have. We have exceeded 1 minute. Forgive me, Mr. Muzaffar. So I think that's all time we have. I'm so sorry we cannot entertain all the questions, but I hope there will be the next series to actually elaborate on the questions that you have asked, and maybe opportunity to discuss more in the scope of TVET. So until then, thank you very much for the panelists, okay, for allocating your precious time. I know you guys are a very busy person, but still manage to allocate time with us. Thank you very much. And thank you also to the audience, okay, for your attention. And thank you for MPC for organizing this wonderful talk. And last words, just thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and goodbye. Stay safe and stay productive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.